nobody is listening.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if we were like starting.
No.
No, the talk was great. The audience was great. How many people was it, do you think?
600 or something, maybe? No. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good.
There was a
active
line. I
audience.
had some friends who got there early. There was a big line.
Oh, yeah, it was really nice. It's because you had your name down. You were VIP.
I had to show them the email screenshot you sent me.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm legit, I swear.
I'm glad you had it.
Oh, we're good?
Ready?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, all right. My name is Bailey. I'm with KRUI, and I'm here today with Penn Badgley and Dr. Nura Mowzoon. How are you guys doing?
We are
Great.
pretty good.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So this is right after your guys' talk. How do you think it went? You think it went well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always like each talk probably shares something universal with the others, which is that there's, I mean, I hope what we're doing, I think what we're doing, what I feel is that at least for a few moments that are very valuable, we create a space, and that space is predicated on this notion that social change happens when we learn how to have meaningful conversations with people or groups we might define either consciously or unconsciously as the other.
Yeah.
And you know, in order for that to like make some like emotional, like practical sense, we spend time in like, you know, kind of one-on-one relationships. We think about, at times we think about international relationships. You know, we kind of toggle in between the very big and the very small. And, you know, I feel like there's always at least, you know, a moment where it all kind of like you can kind of feel everybody like, yeah, there's some kind of like connection. And that's a very gratifying, that's a special thing. It's an honor, you know, it's a really nice thing to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we have some of those moments today during this short conversation. So the first question I wanted to ask you guys is, what sparked your interest in this topic, how media interacts with communication? Like, what would you say led you here today?
I mean, it's just organically the work that we do kind of in our own places. Like, I mean, I've been working in media. I've been working in television and film since I was 12. I actually started in radio when I was like
nice.
10. Yeah.
My dad was the morning guy on the radio too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I just inevitably have grown up thinking about what's the voice? What are the narratives behind? What are the assumptions in all these stories that are told, in all these relationships I've been depicting over the course of my life, you know? And you realize that in at least in Western media, you know, it's like modern Western, there's kind of just like, there's sort of just a few stories being told, you know? It's not like this huge scope. And I've, of course, I've wondered through my life about that impact. What kind of social impact is that having? What is a person in my position? What kind of social responsibility might they have? And then, of course, namely for the impact and popularity of two of my shows, one of them Gossip Girl, the other one You, the show called You. Those are such like kind of pop culture phenomenons, and even though I know that's young people, nobody watches those shows or any show to like learn something about how they behave. But actually, inevitably, that's what you are doing. You are ingesting. You are consuming. You know, a dynamic, a narrative, a story, a behavior. You know, and you realize you're kind of doing that broadly in pop culture with sort of so many stories about love, right?
Yeah.
And so that's been kind of where I come from. And then, you know, Nura is like this sort of the professional context for that. So why don't you go? I don't want to speak for you, but
Yeah, I mean, my interest has always been in helping people communicate better. So it made sense for us to kind of merge our two interests because there was a lot of crossover. But also, I do want to mention on a more personal level, Penn and I are both members of the Baha'i faith. And that is a religion that is very invested in like the well-being and the advancement of humanity. And so we felt like this was one way that we could try to be of service by trying to encourage people on the power of having these meaningful conversations to ultimately have a better society, hopefully. So it was really personal and professional for both of us, I would say. Like, do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you think this like current media climate that you're mentioning, how do you think that's impacting the socialization and the conversations that younger people and adolescents are having right now?
Definitely impacting it. It's definitely like a net negative. I would say. I think it would be like, and I'm not saying that like, oh, watching TV is bad, or you can't watch stories that have this, that, and the other thing. No, but it's like you think about the total effect, like and how much young people are consuming. That's like that needs to change.
Well, and it slants negative.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's so biased towards the negative, and so people are growing up with a very cynical, very negative view, not just of the world, but of one another, which I think needs to be undone. It's not rooted in reality. It's rooted in ratings.
Yeah.
and
No, it
clicks.
is. I mean, like everything right now in the year 2026 on planet Earth, a lot of our problems originate with like social media, movies, film. These are on one hand natural human expression, the desire to connect, the desire to tell story, the desire to perform. Right? Those things are eternal and great and human, and I would never want to like make generalizations about that as being a bad thing. But that's not just like you're on social media, or you're watching something on Netflix or on HBO Max or whatever. You're in a space that is not value free or value neutral. Like you're in a space that is completely trying to get your attention and your money. That's what it is. And so we in a way it's like we watch stories about high conflict drama because it makes for a good story. I get that. Fine. Like, one thing that kind of came up there is like, sure, we can, you can laud it with an award, but that doesn't mean that it should be aspirational behavior, right? And yeah, I don't know.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's been a very
It's
long day,
okay.
and we're losing our.
Yeah, steam.
How much of this net negative effect that you described, how much do you attribute it to social media, and how much would you attribute it to like more traditional media like movies and television?
I'm not sure how I would parse that out. I'm sure someone could, but I think it's a little bit just a progression. I think it's like, we didn't have social media, we used to have media, now we have social media. Now we have, we used to have the internet, now we have like apps. You know what I'm saying? Like we used to have computers where we did things, now we just have like phones which are more powerful than the computers. And so it's all I mean, in some sense, all I see is just a progression of the same space and the same like thought process in a way, or the same control of like private interest and trying to grab our attention. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think with maybe the way as a parent,
Yeah.
I know that parents are probably like, my God, I wish they would watch a show. They're just watching fucking TikTok. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. It's like I wish they would watch something longer than 6 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
please watch a whole 30-minute show. Whereas a generation ago, it's like, how are you watching this show? Why don't you read a book?
Yeah, there is, I've noticed, kind of the prevailing narrative where people are saying Gen Z won't even sit down and watch a movie now.
Gen Z gets a bad rap.
Yeah, we do. But I mean, I am like a screenwriting major, so I will sit down and watch several movies. But how do you think these different types of media can better facilitate this healthy discourse? What improvements do you want to see?
Yeah. Well, if it was to come to, say, just like content, like film and TV, let's say, just stories, right? Because those are great. We should be able to enjoy those things. And I don't even. It's not like oh, we should depict less of this, less of that. I think what it is I would love to see. I would love to see stories that are not based on the assumption that human beings can barely rise above the primal sort of self-interest narrative, you know? Like, I think what we see these days is like protagonists getting taken so low, so they go so low, you know? And a great version of that, by the way, is like Breaking Bad. It's a great version. Incredible writing, incredible performances, like so well constructed. And that show alone is not doing anything like, you know, nefarious or bad or, you know what I'm saying? But the net effect of like living in an era of stories that are just about people going bad, you know, I think that does have some effect. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it does feel to me like, you know, I remember when I was a teenager and like the movies that I watched did not make me feel better about humanity, by and large.
Yeah.
I think they made me question humanity's nature, and they didn't give me a lot of hope, you know? And so I would like to see, regardless of the story that's being told, something contained in it that has this, it makes assumptions about the human being which speak to our highest nature. Because we do have it. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be here, you know? Our ability to collaborate is very, very high.
Well, and I think people are hungry for it. Like, there's a reason why shows like Ted Lasso are so popular. You know, they speak to, I think, the higher nature that we have and the hope that we have. And shows like that are so rare because it's just the default is to go dark. But I think the success of shows like Ted Lasso or Shrinking or different shows like that, they're successful because it resonates with people, and it resonates because it resonates with their higher self. It shows, you know, the side of the story of people growing and loving one another and embracing growth and just the beautiful sides of humanity that we don't see in shows like Breaking Bad, even though it's like an amazing show. You don't walk away feeling hopeful about the world. So I do think we're hungry for it, and I think more content being created like that, whether it is like in film and media or wherever, I do think it would resonate. I think it just has to be rooted in reality and not just like, you know, airy-fairy.
Yeah, I would actually say that this has been a generational problem for a long time. This is not just of our era. I mean, there were, I think it was Art Blakey, a jazz drummer, but he's not the only one to have said it. Many people have said it. Something to the effect of, it takes a genius to write a happy song, you know? And I think it's the same in any story, music, film, literature, television. I want to see prestige, premium quality stuff that explores our capacity for greatness, for self-sacrifice, you know, for light, that isn't saccharine, you know, something that can be sweet and wholesome, but very complex and mature. You know, I mean, here's just like a sort of a life, for instance, an anecdotal, for instance, like the wisdom and maturity, the capacity that it takes to be a good parent to a child, which is to say to be sweet and to be wholesome, you know, and to have wisdom in that and to, you know, guide them. Like that's the most adult thing you could do. You want to talk about like mature content, something that's adult, like rated R, like parenting, my friend, is extremely R-rated. It is not for the faint of heart. It is not easy, and it takes a real adult to do it. You know what I mean? And I think we have this kind of interesting sort of adolescent notion of what is mature. It's like, oh, killing and drinking and having sex. Yeah, real mature. That's the most mature behavior we've got, isn't it? You know, so it's like it's a paradigm shift in a way.
Do you think there is a place for that sort of like darker content, or do you
Yeah, I
see...
mean, it's all over. Yes.
I'm saying in your ideal.
Like, is there a purpose for it?
Yeah, is there a purpose?
Absolutely.
Is there a place for it?
To me, I think what I'm saying doesn't want to negate or limit the spectrum and scope of like human expression at all. To me, I actually think what we see is a fairly narrow scope of expression. You know, it's like, if, you know, left to our most sort of primal and base desires, it's a pretty short list of things we want to do. You know what I mean? Like, let's think about it for real. Like, it's oh, you want to drink, you want to smoke, you want to party, you want to fight, you want to, you know, it's like, it's not a long list of things actually that are quote unquote rebellious or like nonconformist. They're actually extremely conformist. So, you know, the spectrum of human behavior widens when we allow for actual sweetness, because actual sweetness, like anyone experiencing actual sweetness in their life would know. It actually takes, it takes a, it takes a, it takes, it takes a lot, actually. It takes like something very special to accept, to generate sweetness and to accept sweetness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a real, you know, and when I was 20, I don't think I thought that. I think I thought I wanted to see something really like challenging, which was of course dark, but I'm realizing like darkness has been around for a good long while now. It's not that challenging.
Yeah.
At all.
I think sweetness can even be more challenging.
Yeah, to like
in a
actually
way.
be patient enough and humble enough to be like, I'm going to either be sweet or let someone be sweet to me. Like,
Yeah.
like tell that to a, you know, I mean, this will make me sound old because, but you know, like the sort of the original archetype of like a rebellious young man is, you know, like James Dean in a leather jacket. Like, all right, James Dean, chill for a moment. Can you be sweet? What would it take, you know, for that archetype to like relax, to calm, to be sweet, to be thoughtful, to be reciprocal in a relationship, you know, to be humble? That's really interesting. That's not easy. That's very complex, highly adult material.
How would you recommend that, like, movie creators incorporate that sweetness into their films? Do you think it takes a level of personal reflection?
It would take a level of personal reflection. I'm not suggesting that, you know, people aren't having these experiences in their real lives. I think what that, on one hand, it would be like, it's corporate interest, it's private interest. Like so many things, people would have to believe that that is commercially viable. And the truth is, the truth is like drama. And see, this is where I think it's like it's tough because drama is drama. Drama is gonna drama, right? Like conflict is easier to write and easier to portray and easier to absorb, right? It's like I get it. You know. So I don't know. I mean, to me, look, if I could just maybe put this into like some kind of realistic perspective, I would be thrilled if, like, upon my death, I knew I was, to some degree, a part of a, you know, vanguard on the horizon of like this kind of material. Because I think it takes generations to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there are great eras in certain kinds of filmmaking or writing or whatever it may be, you know? Yeah.
All right. I have a question.
Okay.
Are we wrapping up?
I think we need to wrap it up soon. If you
Just ask her a
maybe
question.
one more.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question for you specifically, and it's not really a closer, but I am interested to see how you'll answer it. So, I mean, in this kind of age, shifting more over to like the internet and social media and apps, it's like theoretically easier to form connections, but often we have a harder time forming deeper connections. And I was wondering if you could maybe suggest some ways that we can better navigate this online landscape and form deeper connections with people.
Are you asking how to form deeper connections online, or how do we form deeper connections full stop?
Online, because I feel like for some people that may be the forum in which they're most comfortable interacting, and I'm wondering like how can we utilize the internet, and it doesn't have to be just online, it could be online and then you can take it to somewhere in person, but how can we best utilize the internet to create connections?
I mean, I think transitioning from whatever initial space to some kind of face-to-face space, even if it's not in person, even if it's like over FaceTime or Zoom or whatever, is critical. I think keeping it completely online is unsustainable for most people. If there are people who have like actual, you know, situations or conditions which it's like cripplingly difficult to get out into the world and interface. That's a different story. But for kind of the average person, I don't think it's about, I think it's about building new muscles. I don't think it's about just finding more ways within the same thing that is limiting. So I think it is really about building the new muscle of becoming gradually more and more comfortable with interpersonal interaction. It doesn't mean that you go from the safety of your home to, you know, speed dating, but you can go from the safety of your home to some kind of hobby or meetup group or whatever of like-minded people, and just talk to one person or talk to nobody at first, and then make it a goal to talk to one person by the end of the month. Like, you can ease yourself into it. And I think we can use the internet to find outlets for that, and to maybe give us practice, but it's limiting. Just typing words on a screen, actually, it doesn't even engage the entire brain. It doesn't engage the part of your brain that deals with empathy, which is like critical to human relationships. So we need to actually build the muscles of human interaction, face-to-face interaction, gradually. There's no rush, but that should be the goal to some degree.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what we were speaking about in terms of like TV and movies, like having those spaces for us to watch those things and build those muscles of empathy in storylines. So I really appreciate you guys talking with me. Again,
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, this is really nice.
Your questions are very thoughtful, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not aware of your radio show or whatever, but you're a very good host.
Oh, thank you. I don't have a radio show, actually.
Okay, what is this?
This is the
Where
this
are
is
we?
the radio. I don't have
Okay.
a radio show.
All right, well, you
personally.
do now.
I do now. Okay.
Endorsed by Penn.
Excellent. I'll put your face on my posters. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. It's all right if you want to just leave them.